Hi, I'm Chris Plum, head coach and CEO of the Carmel Swim Club. This is the Off the Deck podcast. Off the Deck champions Carmel Swim Club's mission, teaching excellence through swimming for life. To more fully meet that mission, we are constructing a new pool, the Carmel Swim Academy. Carmel Swim Academy will provide an entry point for more children in central Indiana to have access to life-saving programs. It's true. Drowning is the leading cause of injury-related death in children ages 1 to 4 and the second leading cause of death in children 5 to 9. But there is hope. Participation in formal swimming lessons can mitigate the risk of drowning by 88%. We are compelled to use our expertise in swimming to make our community safer and to ensure every child has the opportunity to learn to swim. To learn more, visit www.carmelswimacademy.org. Now let's get on with the show. I would first like to start with the idea of failing to plan is planning to fail, and just the importance of doing the work ahead of time in your planning. As a swim coach, I've learned that the best seasons I've had and the best workouts and the best just overall years have been always come down to planning, getting out in front of things and thinking through ahead of time of what you expect to happen or what you want to have happen and going in with a plan. Some of the worst seasons or worst workouts I've had is when we haven't planned and we're just making it up on the fly. So just want to tell everyone the importance of do the work ahead of time, planning your budget, planning your practice, plan your workouts, planning your meals. You'll get so much more done if you've thought ahead of time, if you write your daily plan and get out in front of things and just being on top of it. And then you can adjust and look back and learn. And great seasons we've had, I've reviewed several times to look back, hey, what did work this year? And when they haven't worked, I have things to review and say where we can get better and just the importance of planning. And I know our next guest probably understands that most from her current coach, Bob Bowman. But today we have our special guest, Emma Nordin. Emma grew up in Carmel. She moved here in high school or just before high school, swam at Carmel for 4 years, currently swims at Arizona State. She just recently graduated Summa Cum Laude from Arizona State in biology. So clearly she's got a great head on her shoulders. She's working hard. Last year, she finished number 1 in the NCAA in the 500 free before they cut that season short. And she's currently one of the top seeds in the distance events going into Arizona State. So I'm sure she can let us insight into Bob's planning and their training at Arizona State. So please welcome Emma Nordin to the Off the Deck podcast. So Emma, welcome to the show. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for joining us today. This is exciting. I know you fit us into your busy schedules. You're getting ready, as you said earlier today, to taper. So does that mean you have more energy, or have you even started tapering yet, given you're still, I don't know, 13 days, 10 days? I don't even know right now. I'm kind of lost though. How's taper?
Well, I'm a little bit new to taper, but we've already gone down a little bit. So I have a little bit more energy, but we're just getting really excited. You know how everyone has that extra taper energy. Try not to goof around too much.
Yeah, too much is the key, right? I mean, anytime you're getting ready and taper and it's exciting, you just try not to get too wild, right? So what's the feeling like on the deck where you guys are? I know you guys have a lot of great swimmers. Certainly Bob and the pro group, he certainly put people on the team, and it's got to feel good knowing you're in good hands right now, right?
Yeah, I think everyone's excited just to see our plan play out, see what good things are going to happen at trials.
Yeah, so we can talk about that a little bit more later, but let's kind of go backwards in history here. So how did you, Emma, find the water? Like, what was your first experience with the water, and how did you get into it?
Well, my mom was a water polo player. She's actually a multi-sport athlete. She did everything, surfing, swimming, all of it. So my older sister and I, it was just kind of natural for us to learn how to swim. especially if we were going to be at the beach. And so I started doing that, and I started with Summer Swim League, and naturally I hated it. So I had to keep doing it though. And eventually I just made a lot of friends, and I came to practice and I goofed off, and that was how I started.
Yeah. So I know when you moved from Carmel from South Dakota, right? So when you
from
came,
North Dakota.
Sorry, North Dakota. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
Dakotas, I think
they're pretty similar.
Not a lot of difference. So when you moved from the Dakotas to Carmel, you know, that had to be a big shift for you. Tell us what that first experience at Carmel was like.
Honestly, I was terrified, but I had moved a few times before, so I just kind of knew make my friends, and I always knew that the swim team would be a place where I could have friends and have people that were similar around me. And it was such a big swim team, so a lot of great opportunities there.
Yeah, and I know you started in the senior 1 group and moved into the high performance group. So it seemed like to me you just I would say in college too, you've just had this rapid ascent continually over time. But I know it might look like that from the outside, but you know, did the training go up pretty drastically when you first came, and how did you adjust over time?
Yeah, it definitely did, because I started getting things that I hadn't gotten before in swimming, like a lot of technique work, a lot of technical things that I learned about swimming, and honestly just hard work that I hadn't been able to put in before. So I started getting better really fast, and I think that like just the little things, keeping on it, and like you always said, building, like training builds, it doesn't ever go away, so you just keep getting better and better. Even if you sometimes have a plateau, you know, it's going to come back and catch up with you.
Yeah, and I mean, I think you really embody that idea of work and technique. I mean, I think of the swimmers we've had, obviously, and just swimming in general, I would say you have one of the most beautiful swimming strokes I've seen, just the way you ride in the water. Do people tell you that?
Yeah, I hear that. I hear that I have pretty hands.
Oh, pretty hands. I haven't heard that.
Mm-hmm.
So do you think about technique, or how did you, I know you just said you worked on it when you came to Carmel and had that technical piece, but like when you think about your technique, what do you think about in your stroke?
So obviously as I've grown, I've changed the focus of things. So now that I have down this like great stroke count that I learned in high school, now what I'm focusing on right now is like finishing my stroke at the bottom, having this great catch, and like rolling my hips with it. And I just think that as I continue to grow and get down these techniques that are like important, like hopefully that keeps changing year after year, my focus.
Yeah, and I think that's a great point you're making, Emma, because you know, you don't always see females continually improve through the sport. And I feel like every year, and yeah, you may have hit some plateaus, but if you just look at your ascent up the ranks through Carmel, I felt like you got better every year. And then at Arizona State, I was just looking at your bio, you know, your freshman year, it has like 3 highlights, and it was something like 6th best time and the whatever on the team. And then your sophomore year, it says you got 9th in the mile. And then your junior year, I know you were number 1 in the NCAA in the 500. So you won from, you know, the mid 440s in high school to 433. And then who knows where you'll be next year, right? So it seems like you've embraced this growth mindset and this idea for work. Would you agree with that? And then where does that come from for you?
Yeah, I definitely would. I think that part of the important thing for me is that I come into practice because I really enjoy practicing. So I just really enjoy coming in and working hard. And I think that shows in my racing at the end of the season, like when I execute it.
Yeah. And why do you think you like working hard so much?
I don't know. I think that I grew this mindset at the end of high school. I was sort of having a tough time. So I was like, well, I'm going to come in and I'm going to make practice what I love doing, because I want to love the sport of swimming. I don't want to love like racing fast. I mean, I love racing fast, but I don't want it to all hinge on dropping this insane amount of time because it's not always going to happen. So I just learned to like come in and love hanging out with my friends, working hard, doing all that sort of stuff. And then, you know, as a byproduct, at the end of the season, I drop time, but that's not what my whole like career hinges on.
That is a wonderful perspective, and I would, you know, I wish everybody out there can, you know, really take that idea, because in our sport we can't. I see so many people, right? Their identity is attached to a time, and it doesn't seem to work like that for you. And that's probably why you continue to have success with your technique. So when I say those things, do you see other athletes doing, and what would you tell them?
Yeah, I think that some people are much more driven by racing, which is like great. There's nothing better than going out there and like getting a best time and stuff. But I think that it's all about mindset too. When you're in practice, like just be ready to work hard and not be thinking about that taper time, you know, because it's going to come when it comes. You know, you have to trust the plan.
Yeah, trust the process, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's, you know, last year, you know, you swim this great season. You're 4:33, #1 in the 500 in the NCAA, and COVID hits. You know, it seems like you have a good mindset about it today, but was that been hard for you, and how have you dealt with that?
Well, the day we heard, I was actually pretty upset. We were all really upset because I think that partially too, I hadn't had a taper meet in a long time. And so I was just really ready to see what I could do. And it kind of felt like I had done all of this leading up to nothing. But then I knew that I was just going to come back the next season that I got to race and just like be able to blow everyone out of the water, because no one had seen what I could do yet. And I think that we're trying to look at the positive side of it and know that it was just going to be that much better in the coming years.
Yeah. And then, you know, I think there was maybe, you know, Bob Bowman dropped a bomb when he said, hey, Arizona State, we're going to redshirt everybody. And because like there was just no clarity. And I thought it was a pretty bold move just to say, no, look, Arizona State, we're going to have clarity, right? We are going to say we're all in on the Olympics. And you kind of look back now and just look at your results like these past few months, like you've made yourself and put yourself on the map. So yeah, maybe all that work. And, you know, when Bob made that decision, were you all in and committed? And then did you feel like it would lead to this where you are today?
Yeah, I was totally behind him. I think that it was the best call that he made for our team in that moment. And I really do think that it protected us from people getting sick. I think that too, seeing when people did test positive and then they had to quarantine, there was a lot of stress with trying to get back in the water as soon as possible. And I think that just saved us from like a lot of that stress of trying to be back in to compete. And if we would have gone to those championship meets, it just would have taken a toll on some people that hadn't been in the water for a while. And so I think that overall it kept us safer and just like allowed us to put our heads down and like keep training throughout the season.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, with all that being said, you seem to find ways to maybe deal with the stress of swimming by doing other things. So what are some of the things that you do, Emma, that you enjoyed that maybe get away from the pool?
Well, I really enjoy cooking and baking. And while we were kicked out of the pool, I did get to do some hiking around here. So there's some nice spots for that. So that was also definitely a positive aspect of COVID and quarantine, was trying new things that I hadn't gotten to while I was swimming.
Yeah, well, I know at Carmel we've been on a few hikes. We did up there at the Olympic Training Center. Good thing we made it all back alive, right? But so, I mean, I've seen you, you know, from your Instagram. You know, it looks like you got a lot of great places there. And what have been some of your favorite places to hike?
Well, I've just gone to places around Arizona. The Grand Canyon's really beautiful. Places up north near Flagstaff and stuff like that. I went on a road trip with my friends, so we kind of stopped all sorts of places, and I like around the East Coast and in the South, and each place has its own beauty. So
Yeah. Yeah. And then baking, huh? That's something new I didn't know. What's your favorite thing to bake?
Well, I like baking cakes so that I can decorate them. Really funny, maybe like ironically ugly for a friend's birthday.
Okay. And so, when you find this time, do you find yourself on these hikes and baking and things? Are you thinking about swimming, or is it just completely out of your mind in that time and gets you away from the pool?
It's definitely not really on my mind at that time. I think that swimming has its time and place, think about it at the pool, think about it when you're focusing on swimming, but then when you're doing something else, be fully involved in what you're doing.
Yeah, and that just like leads to presence, right? And just being wherever you are, you're fully committed. And you embrace the hard work. And I think, I know what I find interesting too with you, Emma, is you would come back and some of the college kids that would come to practice, not putting anybody down out there, but we would do these hard dry lands and you would just jump right in. Do you still embrace that dry land work ethic wherever you are?
Yeah, definitely. I think, put your full mind and body into whatever you're doing and do it if you enjoy it. So I really enjoy hiking and I really enjoy doing dry land when I come back. So I'm going to give it all I got,
Yeah, no, I love it. I love it. So, kind of that, what are some of your favorite sets to do there at Arizona State?
In the pool?
Yeah.
Well, I love a good recovery set, but besides that, we have, I talked about on swam the other day, our 31s test set. I think that's one that makes me feel like I'm really working hard, and then I get to see where I have improved over time. So we do that sometimes, and then I love the variety of sets. So like getting better at like every little thing. So I can't really say that I have a single favorite one, but I do enjoy color sets as well because I kind of excel at those. So
okay, so like set where you maybe hit all the energy systems.
Yeah.
And have you seen that steadily improvement each and every year? And was there a time where you're like, oh, this is too much for me? Or maybe sometimes you're like overwhelmed with all that, or was it just been the steady climb?
Yeah, no, absolutely not. There's times where I've done those test sets and I was like, what am I doing here? I went faster a few years ago on that, but I think that's just part of it. It's like they say, it's not a straight line to success. There's a lot of ups and downs. And so sometimes I get overwhelmed and like my body does during training. And I think that I should know that I'm going to come back and use that experience from that period of training. And my body's going to be able to know what to do when it gets overworked and stuff like that, and be able to apply it to racing or something like that.
Yeah. And then how have you balanced all this work in the pool with the classroom? I mean, graduating with a degree in biology, 3.9. Obviously, you've had to figure out how to manage the stress of the pool and the classroom. So how have you done that?
That's a good question. I definitely still get really stressed sometimes, but I think that the pool, like, when I get stressed from school, the pool is kind of the place that I can go to get away from that. And then when I'm done at the pool, I go to study hall. I go somewhere that I can focus, and I just put the rest of my energy into that.
Yeah. So it seems to me like you just say, hey, look, this is where I am. I'm going to be all in on this, and then I'll move on to the next thing.
Yeah, I definitely learned to, after high school, I definitely learned to plan ahead more as well. So that's helped a lot reduce my stress. I don't have any last minute assignments due. Started getting them done in the morning, which is really impressive because that's just when I think best. So I think that that's helped a lot.
So you're a morning person.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's nothing you can do after those 2 to 4 practices. Bob's practices, you're done so after that.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm a morning person too. I know in the evening time, like I can't do anything really. I love getting stuff in the morning. So we're in the same boat there. Let's kind of just bring it to present. You swam some meets recently. You've put yourself on the map. You're in the big swim slam news. What are you thinking about, or what's your approach right now, being one of the top seeds in these events? The 400, the 800, the mile.
I've never come into a meet like ranked, I guess, this highly before. So I think that I'm just trying to keep a cool head. I don't want to overthink it too much because I don't want to get in my head. So right now I'm just thinking that I'm trusting Bob's plan and I am where I need to be and hoping that it all comes together on race day because that's what's most important. And then I'll be able to see all my hard work pay off, and that'll put me at hopefully a best time. Hopefully it'll put me in a higher rank.
Yeah. And so like when you have raced, some of the best swimmers that our country has to offer, how do you think you've gotten the confidence maybe to stand up and race, the Kayla Deckies, Leah Smiths? Whereas, let's be honest, 2 years ago, you weren't even close to these women. So how have you recently today stand up there with such confidence to race them?
I think a lot of people ask me how I have this confidence, and the honest answer is that I don't really have the confidence. I just go out there and I have fun. I'm like, well, what do I have to lose? What is Kayla Decky gonna beat me? Like,
right.
So I just kind of go out there and I have fun and I do my thing. And then these past few meets, I've ended up next to them, and I'm like, kind of, oh, cool, like I'm next to them now.
Wow. If we could all just have this great perspective, I love it. This is just, no, I just think it's so great because I've, obviously been able to watch from afar, and I remember, I think it was in Irvine, I don't know if it was 17 or 18, and like you and Kelly Pash were in the, the C or D final after everyone's gone, and the 200 free against each other. And to watch both of you now, like being some of the top seeds, just so cool. And, I think from a prideful thing, I've had people say that Carmel kids don't get better in college. And, you're living proof, and there are several other athletes too, that's just not true. So just to see your rapid improvement, especially, like you said, like, hey, maybe last year people didn't get to see it, but now everyone's going to know who Emma Nordin is, right? So, and you just have a great attitude about it, which is awesome. So,
yeah, I definitely think that I was blessed with that lackadaisical. Like, sometimes it's not the best, but my lackadaisical personality kind of helps me in some of those instances.
Yeah, I would say you're pretty chill girl. Which is just so fun because you just have this dry wit about you, and it's. I remember you would just say things and be like, "Wait, Emma just said that." I'm sure you've grown a little bit in that way, and on your own, I'm sure you've become more of yourself today than you were in high school. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I definitely think that college is a great place for growth.
Yeah, and it's almost coming to an end. So after you over the next year or next couple of years, what are your future plans there?
Well, I'll be taking classes next year and taking my 5th year, and then after that, I will be applying to dental school and hopefully becoming a dentist.
All right, got to keep those teeth clean out there.
Yeah, start flossing.
Got to start flossing. Yeah, right, exactly. So we're gonna finish with some what I like to call the fast finisher. So just some real quick, fun questions. And are you ready for them?
Yeah.
Okay. So anybody in current time history, anybody in the world, who would you like to do a social kick with?
Oh my goodness. I guess Miley Cyrus. I think she's pretty cool.
All right, Miley, you're up. What song would you least like to have pop up during workout?
Ooh, anything probably country.
No country. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, I couldn't name a song, so I don't know any of them.
That's good. Would you rather swim in the deep end or shallow end?
Deep end for sure.
Deep end. Okay. What is or would be your perfect I am order?
Fly, no. Yes, no. Free, fly, back, free.
Okay, free fly. Get rid of that breaststroke. Sidebar, little known fact. We did the 200 fly at Indie Pro meet one time or something like that. And I said, hey, let's do a flip turn on this 200 fly. And you did. Did you get DQ'd on that?
No, I didn't. Two-hand touch always.
Two-hand touch, flip turn, great moment in Carmel swimming 200 butterfly history. So I love the fact you were taking a risk that day. Kickstand, kickboard or no kickboard?
Kickboard.
Kickboard. Kick or pull?
Ooh, pulling.
Pulling, yeah. That's new for you, isn't it? That's a little change.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Would you rather swim in a pool that's too cold or too warm?
Too cold.
Yep, distance swimmer. Lane leader or caboose?
Caboose. No intervals for me.
All right. And lastly, what is your favorite Gatorade color?
Probably the white one. I don't know. I don't really drink we're a Powerade school.
Sorry. Okay. Well, let me rephrase that question. What's your favorite Powerade color?
Oh, the blue one.
The blue. Okay. All right. Sorry. Anything you want to say about anything in your future that you want to tell the world about now?
Not particularly. Just going with the flow,
Yeah.
Excited to see the process play out.
Well, good, Emma. We're super excited. I know everyone in Carmel is excited to cheer you on. Unfortunately, the Carmel kids are not taking a team trip with COVID. Otherwise, we'd have people in the stands cheering for you. But, we're going to have some watch parties here in Carmel. We're excited to cheer you on, and we wish you the best of luck. So,
yeah, thank you so much.
Yep, thank you.